Ladies and gentlemen, what is up, and welcome to today's video, which is a bit of a long-awaited one. For the last 3 weeks, every day, so many messages like, when is the updated tier list coming for 12.0, and that day is today. So we have done a huge update to both the offensive one and the defensive one. So if you're kind of new to these tier lists, they're kind of to give newer players and you guys a rough idea of how champions, in my opinion, are kind of ranking against each other in terms of their value, in terms of the uses, in terms of the stuff that they can do in the game, and to help you, give you a rough guideline to maybe make some rank up choices when you're faced with like, oh, do I take this character or this character? But obviously there's a lot more to it than just looking at a tier list, so it's to give you a very, very rough idea. Now, this tier list is split into 2 sections. As a big disclaimer, because I still saw so many comments on the last video, there's offense and defense. So offense is when you're actually playing the character, and defense is when you have the character for Alliance War defense. You just put it on a node and leave it to do its thing and defend, because there are some champions that are amazing when you play them, but really, really suck in Alliance War defense because they're very easy to fight. And there are some champions that suck when you play them, but when you put them on an Alliance War node, hey, they are the biggest pain in the ass to be in the world. So yeah, just as a big old disclaimer, guys, as well, this list is jam-packed full of my opinion, but as somebody that's cleared, pretty much all of their content in game and plays at a pretty high level, I like to think that I have a reasonably good grasp on most of the characters and how they rank. So anyway, let's get started with kind of some of the big updates to 12.0, and this is kind of one of the big things that I want to communicate now, is previously, before 12.0, when you had kind of the reign of the god tier champions, let's call it that, you had certain characters for each class, like 4 Black Widows, Scarlet Witch, that were completely dominant in almost every scenario, right? They were by far the best option to play. So one of the things that especially we've been talking about in the top 5 lists is it's no longer really that scenario. It's like with every fight, every matchup, every context of the game, different characters can kind of pull ahead of different ones. So a great example of that is the comparison currently between like Elektra, Black Widow, and Crossbones. So Crossbones is an amazing character. Sometimes if you're playing with a really good crit team, you can have like 100% defensive ability accuracy up, like 5+ stacks of Fury, like all of the time. But if you bring him to Alliance War, if you're fighting a Mystic character that has Mystic Dispersion, that's going to be fueling that like absolutely crazy, and it's just going to annihilate the Crossbones. So in a scenario like Alliance War, Crossbones becomes a much less valuable character. However, in questing, when you can give him like still a full crit team synergy, maybe in certain scenarios he's a little bit more valuable than Black Widow or Elektra. And then when you have Elektra versus Black Widow as well, like in the Road to Labyrinth, where you can't debuff the opponent because Elektra's ability accuracy reduction relies on the opponent being debuffed. Maybe Black Widow or Crossbones are going to be a better character, but generally Elektra has like a -85% ability accuracy reduction whenever the opponent is debuffed. So that's kind of the flatline best one when you can have it. However, that's not always active. It gets active via her bleeds on a special one and also her stun. And the final one is Black Widow, who has it active all the time, is more powerful against Science Champions, goes up to 85%, against any other class apart from Mutant, it's 70%, and against Mutant, it's 55%. So hopefully that just gives you a very rough idea of the point that I'm trying to convey at the moment, where there is no like one particular champion that is going to be the 100% answer to every scenario, every quest. Like before, it was just always Black Widow. It was 100%. You don't even need to think about it. But now you have to have a little bit of a think, going into every fight, like what are the strengths of this fight, what are the weaknesses, how do I overcome it? So yeah, a little bit more thought to put into the game and that. But with that said, let's go over who I believe are still in my god tier, guys. We only have 4 champions that have made it, continue to make it up there. I think maybe Wolverine might be in my god tier as well, but for now, like, this is just it's an early one, but I've given quite a bit of thought to this. So the god tier for now, Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is still amazing. She's still really, really good. Just an insane champion for Alliance Quest. Makes a lot of the fights so easy. So I think Scarlet Witch still has a lot of her power. Again, she lost like some of the crazy stacking scenarios, but when she's awakened, if you get her to dupe level 99, she's still amazing. A really, really decent option. The regeneration is so powerful, and it can just keep going and going throughout the fight, as well as having, this nullify, this crazy damage output. So Scarlet Witch, although she lost a little bit of value with the patch, she's still really, really overpowered in my opinion, in comparison to a lot of other characters. Then also you have Star-Lord. Star-Lord is by far the best 5-star character to get in a basic crystal, and when he's awakened, is still by far the best option for Labyrinth of Legends. Just so strong in terms of his damage output. It's a really great character for a lot of the endgame content. An amazing boss killer for Alliance War, Alliance Quest, has a lot of value there. Captain America World War II. I really like Captain America World War II. This might be a bit of a personal preference one in the God tier, but he has those perfect parries when the opponent has any buffs on him. He's going to take 0 block damage, which is so powerful in so many fights at the moment, like particularly this month versus Master Mode Iceman. Captain America World War II is amazing for that, but he just has one of the strongest blocks in the game, as well as having that insane bleed on the special too, which I think is really, really valuable, especially combined with Deep Wounds. So yeah, I think Captain America World War II he's in my God tier. I put Captain America Classic in the Demigod tier because I think he's still very, very good, but he's not quite as good as World War II. He's lacking 5% stats, and he also has that crit reduction debuff instead of the bleed. Pretty much, that's pretty much the trade-off you've got there. So in my opinion, I still like Captain America World War II a lot more, and I wanted to do something to visually represent that he was a better character. And then finally we have Dr. Voodoo. So Dr. Voodoo was added to the 4-star and premium hero crystals a couple of weeks ago now. Reliable regeneration in the first 20 seconds of the fight. If you got fully maxed out Voodoo, it's about 4,000 at 550. My rank 4-1 as a 5-star is just over 6,000 in the first 20 seconds of the fight, and that is very, very valuable when you're going through Alliance Quest, Alliance War, knowing that every fight you're going to regen. But on top of that, he has a nullifier and a special 1, which converts any buffs to poison. That's incredibly good. He has really powerful power control mechanics on his special 2 and special 3. There are ways that you can play Dr. Voodoo by combining the special 2 and special 3 effects to completely deny your opponent of any power gain. So that is really, really valuable there. Great synergy with Mystic Dispersion. They just need to fix the little issue with there's a little bug at the moment with floating characters, like moving and swiping backward a little bit slower than characters that don't float, and that's really screwing up a little bit of the timing on Voodoo at the moment, so it makes him a little bit annoying at the moment, but apparently they're working on a fix to make it the same as non-floating characters. But Dr. Voodoo is a beast. He can do so much, plus has a defensive ability accuracy reduction when awakened as well. Like, Voodoo has a crazy amount of depth to the character, a lot you need to learn, a lot you need to practice, but he has the potential to be by far one of the best characters in game. Then we go into the Demigod tier, so we've got Wolverine, insane regen there. His regen is so damn good. Really good damage output on fights where you can bleed the opponent. Great synergy with Despair as well. You've got X23, more damage than Wolverine, but less healing. Very simple there. You have Rogue. Rogue has great prestige, reliable health steal on the level 1. You've got power steal on the level 2, and you can bring back buffs that you've stolen as well with the special 1 by using the special 3, so very valuable stuff there. The elusive Deadpool red suit, just insane regeneration. His regeneration is still bonkers, but he's a very rare champion. You haven't been able to get him for a 4-star in about 14 months now, so yeah, he's very, very exclusive, but just wanted to chuck him in there. Archangel is insane. He's so good against any opponent that you can both bleed and poison. Crazy damage output, defensive ability accuracy reduction by 25% for each stack of neurotoxin, heal block as well. I've seen a lot of people use Archangel for Alliance War attack and have some fairly interesting results there. You know, he is pretty good against opponents like Magic because he can heal block the Limbo health recovery there, and also with his neurotoxin, if you get several stacks, it reduces the chance to proc Limbo when going over a power threshold. So yeah, some interesting stuff that Archangel can do there. Has a lot of potential for a character, but again, he's very new at the moment. Then we have Storm. Storm is a really solid, hard-hitting champion, has a good stun, is a viable option for Labyrinth of Legends if you have her as a 5-star rank 4. So yeah, Storm's just a pretty simple yet effective character just because of her damage and stun. Really, really good stuff there. Psylocke was also added, what was it, just under a couple of weeks ago now. Psylocke has excellent power control mechanics, Really just awesome character for that. She doesn't have much damage output, maybe a bit if you get your opponent completely power drained, but she has complete power denial mechanics, which make her very good there. But there are certain scenarios, especially when you have Mystic Dispersion, where she seems a little bit less effective than maybe a Dr. Voodoo. Plus, Dr. Voodoo has the regen and the nullify, so I think there's comparisons to be drawn between those two characters. But it's interesting to bear in mind. Then next up we have Cable. Cable has what does he have? He has so much little bits of utility here and there. I think the main things, he has power gain. He has potential to regen when he's above 25% health and he gains a bar of power. He has degeneration on his heavy attack if you ever want to use that, and that's inverse to the amount of power that the opponent has. He has defensive ability accuracy reduction on his special too, which was actually buffed a little bit in the most recent patch. So it's a 90% chance to apply and affects 90% ability accuracy reduction. So that's pretty good, especially with the power gain, if you can get up there and cycle. Some very interesting uses maybe for Cable there, especially with his regen, and with the special free, he has True Strike as well. Plus with the most recent update, and the kind of conversion for percentage plays to flat rate, it's kind of like averaged out a bit more of the champions like crit rate and crit damage. So Cable got quite a big boost from this, update, so his damage output has definitely gone up by quite a bit since the update. So Cable, he's looking good, guys. He's looking very good, and you get a free or 4-star version of Cable tomorrow, so wishing you all the best for the 4-star. Then you have Crossbones, Black Widow, and Electra. Again, 3 really solid champions for kind of dealing with opponents that require a defensive ability accuracy reduction. So some good stuff there. Then you have Gwenpool. Gwenpool is amazing. She's so fun to play. Has crazy damage. Power lock on her special too. Has defensive ability accuracy reduction when awakened based on her combo meter, and also caps the amount of damage she can receive from special attacks, kind of like Magneto, but she can't die to special attacks. Is the thing, you know, she's a percentage damage cap there, so very interesting stuff, especially if you're an intercepting god. So yeah, Gwenpool, really cool champion. We actually beat Red Hulk in Labyrinth of Legends with full suicide masteries. The kill on Gwenpool with a 5-star rank 4 was 277 hits. So I think it's pretty safe to say Gwenpool is, for a lot of fights, a viable alternative for Labyrinth of Legends. There are some fights where she won't be super great, maybe like Colossus, if you're going down that path. Any fight basically that has bleed immunity, she's not going to be super great for. And the kind of disadvantage of Gwenpool as well is against a Black Panther Civil War or Mordo, then you're in a lot of trouble there, because their basic attacks also stun, and they have a chance to reflect that stun, and stuff can go pretty badly there. So Gwenpool circumstantially is amazing, but sometimes she sucks in a couple of matchups as well. We have Daredevil Classic. When he's fully awakened, dupe level 99, you got 100% chance to evade projectiles. So good for Alliance War. Also that additional block chance, stun on specials. He's just a solid character, Daredevil Classic. Nothing too special, nothing too fancy. He's just fairly simple and fairly solid. We have Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider, great map 6 champion for bleed immune paths, as I found out. The regeneration on Ghost Rider, especially since the patch, is awesome. He's a bit lacking on the damage output, but the utility this character has with his Fate Seal on his special 1, a Power Lock, Heal Block, and Fate Seal on the special 3 as well. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with Ghost Rider, so he's a really strong ranking champion now, in my opinion, especially with his regen buffed up. Then we have Guillotine. Guillotine's always been a badass champion, a lot of damage there, potential to recover health as well when you have her awakened. I think if you get a 5-star Guillotine and you got her awakened and maybe took her up to rank 3 or rank 4, she'd be so good for Alliance War attack. Maybe not so much actually after the willpower nerf. I think she'd still be pretty great though. Like, you got that regen, you got that crazy damage, synergizes really well with deep wounds, so that's pretty good. And then we have also up there, Dormammu. Dormammu is a great power control champion, so ridiculously good for that. Takes a little bit of practice getting used to Dormammu, but he's poison immune, he's bleed immune, he's very good for kind of those quests and scenarios where, you know, you need a character that's bleed or poison immune, but you also need a character that can control power. Has a bit of a regen with his heavy attack and special 3, but it's not as much as you want it to be. It's a little bit though. It's a way to recover a bit of health, so that occasionally can be useful if you're a super good player and you need to deal with something like a damage back. So yeah, Dormammu has some interesting stuff he can do. Plus full nullify on the special one. So Dormammu, he's a bit of a utility god there. Then we have magic. Magic's limbo is very, very valuable. The special so the power lock on the special 2 is also really, really good, especially when you awaken this character. You find yourself in limbo like half of the time if you get a good few signature levels on magic. So yeah, I really like Magic. She's a great champion. Very, very good for a lot of the monthly quests as well. So, a solid champion overall. Then we have Hyperion, probably one of the hardest hitting cosmics at the moment. So much you can do with Hyperion. Great damage output. Poison immune, very good for Alliance quest. Then we have 4. Just 4 is kind of like a watered down version of what he used to be. 4 is still a very, very good character to play. A lot of damage output there. But Drax is also very similar. And 4 has, you know, very defensive style of playing. You're constantly parrying and to get the armor breaks and then attacking in, whereas Drax and Hyperion, you can go ham for the most part. Granted, with Hyperion, you do need to use some heavy attacks, get some fury buffs going there. So it's kind of like a question of personal preference, but I think Hyperion, of all the free cosmics, is the best. But they're all very, very good options for kind of a solid damage dealer, a solid boss killer if you're looking to bang some Kangs in Alliance Quest. Then we have Quake. Quake is a beast. Some really interesting ways you can play Quake with charging a heavy attack to almost never take damage and only attack when the opponent is stunned. So yeah, some really interesting stuff Quake can do there. A lot of potential with that champion. Highest science prestige as well. Gains additional block when she's awakened. So Quake has a lot of potential. Really, really good character, especially for players that like a bit of a quirky style of playing. Then Captain America Classic. Again, just some really solid block proficiency there. You're going to get perfect parries. It's a very good time. Very good time when you're playing Captain America. But Hulk as well is a beast now since this update. The ability to have an 85% chance to stun on your special 1 and then just continually chain that on, combined with a really big beef up in terms of his damage output, has just made Hulk a really, really great champion. Plus he's poison immune as well. Potentially really good for Alliance Quest. I think he's pretty safe to say he's solid for Alliance Quest. But Alliance War as well, I'm not too sure about Alliance War actually, not too sure about that, but for Realm of Legends, good option. I reckon when we come to Act 5 and need to deal with some of these very, very aggressive nodes, Hulk's going to be very good for that as well. So yeah, some interesting stuff there. Then finally we have Vision, both. However, I have been kind of alerted to the fact that the classic Vision is a little bit more valuable in the endgame, with a very kind of slower style of play where you're constantly trying to never push your opponent over 1 bar of power. I think there's some very interesting stuff on the classic Vision, but still, I think they're very, very close. The only difference between the two is how they gain power. The Vision Age of Ultron gains from special attacks, and the classic one gains over time. So yeah, interesting stuff you can do there, but both Visions really, really solid. Poison and bleed immune champions, great power drain. So yeah, they're good characters. They're very good. And finally, we have Ultron as well. Again, this is in no particular order as a bit of a additional disclaimer. Ultron, just great champion, can regen, poison and bleed immune. So very, very solid option for map 6 and a lot of those annoying kind of bleed paths as a champion that is going to be able to recover a bit of health. So a bit of an alternative to Ghost Rider there as well. As somebody that's going to be doing a bit of map 6 come in the future, I think my team's going to consist of Ghost Rider, Ultron, and then maybe an Elektra or like a Black Widow or a Crossbones. I need some way to deal with the Spider-Man because they are, yeah, they're going to be the burden of our map 6 because Spider-Man, very, very annoying map 6 boss. Might even try Cable. I'm not too sure if I should try Cable because I can just get into the special free. But will I stay alive that long? That's the question as well. I might just stay with Elektra and only attack when parried, but I'm not too sure. Anyway, apart from that, a lot of other really, really great champions in the amazing tier, the good tier. Again, I'm concerned that this video is getting way too long in the moment, but I just want to talk about some changes. We bumped up Old Man Logan and Spider-Gwen to the good tier because they've seen a really solid increase as well. Old Man Logan regens significantly more than he did previously in the patch. His regen has been upped by it's like 5 times, so it's now like, well, for my rank 3, instead of like 5 or 6 every every, what was it, second? It's now like 25 or 30. But old Man Logan still, in my opinion, suffers from the problem that Wolverine is a much better regenerator and Wolverine X23 is a much better damage dealer. I think Wolverine as well is even a better damage dealer than old Man Logan, so he doesn't really have a comparative use there. But apart from that, we've also pushed up Winter Soldier and Punisher. Really great champions there into the amazing tier. A lot of awesome champions in amazing. We've got Nightcrawler, we've got Electro, we've got Cyclops, Black Panther Classic, Agent Venom, Spider-Man Symbiote, Iron Fist, Yellow Jacket, Karnak, Moon Knight, Beast, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Magneto, Mordo, Doctor Strange, Rocket Raccoon, Black Bolt, Gambit, Phoenix, Hawkeye, Winter Soldier, Punisher, and Hood. And I really like all the characters in the amazing tier. Like, I really do like them. Just the comparative point is, usually, while like with pretty much every one of these characters, there's probably a better option in the demigod or god tier for the majority of fights, and that's kind of the main thing that I tried to convey with that. And then the good tier, we have champions that are okay, you know, but don't really have like a super great use in the game. Maybe they're alright to play, maybe they're alright to use. A lot of the Iron Man characters reside in here because circumstantially they're quite useful in fights where you know, if they're one of your first characters, if you need to proc that big bursty regen at the end, you just want a character that can maybe like recover a bit of health once per fight, they're quite good for then. But once you get a character that, like Wolverine, that can just keep on going and going and going, then they become a little bit redundant in my opinion. But I'd say, you know, they do occasionally, some of these characters do shine occasionally. And then we have the meh tier, which I wouldn't say there are many scenarios where any of these characters shine in any particular fights. But sometimes they might be useful, guys. Sometimes they might be useful. I don't think any character is completely useless in the game. Every character has like a couple of very odd and quirky matchups where they're pretty good for. But hopefully, guys, you're enjoying the tier list, and hopefully it gives you a decent idea of, you know, how various characters rank, in my opinion. And then in the Alliance War Defense one, in the God tier, we have Rhino, we have Spider-Man Classic, we have Magic, we have Hyperion, we have Electro, we have Nightcrawler, Miles Morales, Mordo, Doctor Strange, Juggernaut, Dormammu. Again, a lot of the Mystic characters in Alliance War Defense do rely on you having quite a few points in Mystic Dispersion. Ideally, you need like at least 4 or 5 points to make a Mystic character super effective. And I've also put Iceman in the God tier. He's not released till this Thursday, but the fact that he has like this unavoidable kind of decay at the start of the fight with his signature ability, I think he's just going to be a really good option to place anywhere because he's really annoying to fight and he has this unavoidable degen. So you're going to guarantee like a bit of damage with Iceman. Which I don't particularly like that design, but I wish there was unavoidable damage didn't exist in the game, because it's not a super fun mechanic. He doesn't necessarily need that, but hey, that's where he's probably going to be. Amazing tier as well. I think Abomination is awesome for defense. Agent Venom is awesome for defense. Black Panther is pretty sweet, and on any armor up node, Black Panther Civil War. Actually, he might be god tier because he's very annoying to fight. So yeah, Black Panther Civil War, crazy good champion. Unstoppable Colossus as well is very good. Yellow Jacket, Groot is awesome. Ultron and Hulk, still very annoying characters to deal with in some scenarios, especially if you slip up on Hulk's Special 1, you're wrecked. You are so dead after this patch if you even slip up to Hulk. And then we have a lot of characters that I think are good, and ones that I think are pretty meh or relatively useless in Alliance War Defense. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, a lot to cover, a lot to digest in that list. Hope you enjoyed this kind of brief overview and summary. I thought we'd spend a lot of time talking about kind of the top characters and stuff, but hopefully you can read through the rest. If you have any suggestions or really good arguments as to why a character should be bumped up a tier, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I'd be very interested to get your opinion, but also give a comparative opinion. Like if you're making an argument for one character, explain why it should join the ranks of, you know, the characters in the next tier. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, hope you enjoyed this video, hope you enjoyed the updated tier list. If you did, feel free to leave a like, that'd be greatly appreciated. Apart from that, thank you for watching, take care, and have an absolutely fantastic day.